Okay, well, I'm gonna try to reset it one more time. You don't have to do anything. I'm just gonna do it on my end. No, because I know it's got nothing to do with you. It's the actual camera. I know that there's nothing you can do to fix it. It's something over here. I'm just gonna give it a second, see if I can. No, it's nothing. Yeah, that's everything. But look at how blurry it gets. Copy that, Tim. Yeah, I know what you mean. I was trying to find it to see if this one had that. turn this on for a sec. Yeah. Tusk, he's getting on the freeway now. No, it's still acting up. Oh, man. Go ahead, Jack. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead. Say that again, Jack. Sorry. NOC was talking at the same time. Go ahead. I did that multiple times. Yes, everything. Yeah, it appears to be, yeah, it's like a mechanical issue with the gears for the zoom. Okay, cool. Go ahead, Tim. Go ahead, Tim. I gotcha. Oh, opposite side of the freeway here. Going wrong side of the road. Wrong side of the road on the freeway. Wow. Wow. Yeah. And he's getting off now. Good. Yeah, because they weren't going to chase him wrong side. Ooh. Gonna crash into the JCPenney. Oh, no. Okay, good. Going into Costco. Oh, continuing south here. Okay. It doesn't move. I'm pushing it, but it won't do anything. Yeah, I think those two buttons might be connected in some way, and if it's not working, yeah, that's why this one's not either. It's the 10 freeway through Claremont. We're going back west.
Well, that they are in pursuit of a driver in a stolen construction truck.
Oh my goodness. As you can see, this is quite the sight on the freeway. Let's go upstairs now to Desmond Shaw live in Sky 9 for an update. Desmond.
Susie, Jeff, this is unbelievable. On a scale of 1 out of 10, I think this is a 12. Look at, first of all the sparks that are coming out of this work truck. Now, here's the thing. This all started with another stolen vehicle last night, and then this truck was carjacked today while that pursuit was going on. The driver got out of the vehicle that was allegedly stolen last night and then carjacked this construction vehicle. An insane amount of sparks coming out of the back of this truck as we're westbound on the 10. At one point, the driver of this vehicle was on the wrong side of the freeway. They were going westbound in the eastbound lanes, been on the wrong side of some streets. I think that this trailer right here, oh no! Oh, that innocent person right there. Just slammed right into them, and now the trailer is sparking and beginning to fishtail. I really hope those people are going to be okay. It didn't look like the impact was too serious, but you can only imagine what that person must have been feeling. Wrong side of the street. I just cannot believe what I'm seeing right now, Jeff and Susie.
Well, at least has flashing yellow lights on as it goes the wrong way. That trailer, by the way, is one of those Rogue Construction Aero trailers, one of those light-duty trailers, and this is really just ground down to nothing at all. Susie, you see the right wheel there is causing all those sparks as this continues to this pursuit now going on I-10 eastbound, and this all began with a person wanted by police for stealing a vehicle. There was a pursuit. He got out of the vehicle and then got in and carjacked this construction truck.
Gosh, all kinds of lights on right now on this truck flashing. This person, certainly if they're trying to evade police or the CHP, not going to do a very good job of it, certainly just from the optics here. They've got lots of lights on, including the sparks flying out of the back there on the trailer that's barely hanging on to this construction truck. If you're just joining us here on KCAL 9 News at 8, this is breaking news. This is what happened. A stolen car in Ontario last night was reported. Police got behind that person or the person who stole that car. behind him at a stop today, ran the plates and discovered that, in fact, that car was stolen. There was a short pursuit, as Desmond was talking about. They crashed that car. Then the suspect carjacked this construction truck, as you're watching here, and took off with the truck pulling a trailer. They were on the wrong side of the road many times throughout this pursuit, on the wrong side of the 10 freeway going eastbound, and also on different surface streets as well. But as you can see here, the CHP behind this person, I believe, is a CHP with many units on the ground there and keeping their distance, certainly because those sparks are still flying.
Let's go to Desmond Shaw overhead in Sky 9. Des, he's definitely slowed down since the impact with that vehicle. We don't have any word on any injuries, but he certainly did sideswipe that car.
Yeah, he sure did. Unfortunately, I think that those people were probably going to be okay. They were about to get off the freeway, and then that trailer kind of slammed into them, but it looked like it didn't do too much damage, and I believe that vehicle was able to stop. I imagine those people are incredibly shaken up after getting blindsided by a sparking trailer off of the back of a truck there. And so you saw the authorities here. I'm noticing, you notice the doors there are both the front and the rear doors are white, so that's telling you that these are police. So I believe that's going to be Ontario as well as Fontana police that are running this traffic break right now. Haven't heard anything in the way of CHP. It's been those two agencies, and there's also been 2 helicopters overhead. You have San Bernardino County Sheriff's and I believe Ontario's helicopter as well. And indeed, we can now confirm CHP says they are not getting involved in this. So really, really crazy. You at least have all of the units trying to hold back traffic so that they don't interact with this lunatic. But as we're now back in the eastbound lanes, have slowed down quite a bit. Wonder if, you know, one of the tires is starting to give out or something. I don't see any damage here on the passenger side tires.
No, it looks like the right rear tire is blown, Des. The right rear dually tire of that truck appears to be on the rim, so that's going to slow them down quite a bit. We're going to wrap it up here real quickly. I'm Jeff Vaughn. Susie Sa is next to me. We're going to toss it over to KCAL 9 News at 9 o'clock. Pat Harvey and Juan Fernandez are standing by with a call on this latest pursuit of a stolen construction truck carjacked earlier tonight as that pursuit continues live here on KCAL.
All right, thanks so much, Jeff and Susie. And we are over this breaking news. As you can see, Sky 9 is over this pursuit of a stolen construction truck with flames coming out the back, Juan.
That's right, Pat. Looks like it's slowing down just a little bit. Let's go up to Desmond Shaw live in Sky 9 to bring us up to date. Des.
Totally insane, Juan and Pat, as we're eastbound on the 10 at Indian Hill, so coming into Claremont. This all began yesterday when a vehicle was stolen, and Ontario PD was alerted to that. So that happened in Ontario. One of their cruisers came up behind with the license plate reader and found that vehicle, saw it was stolen, tried to pull them over. The driver took off. There was a pursuit with that vehicle, and then the driver got out of that vehicle and carjacked this construction truck. So here we are now, the second vehicle involved, and it's just been total insanity ever since with this trailer. One of the tires has fallen off. All these sparks coming out. It looks like it may have lost the right rear tire as well. There's been several collisions. We witnessed one of them hitting an innocent motorist on the westbound side of the 10 just maybe 5 minutes ago. I think those people are going to be okay. And it's Fontana PD and Ontario PD and 2 helicopters overhead. They really want this person, and also complicating things, they have very strong reason to believe that this suspect is armed and dangerous. So that is another wrinkle to this whole fiasco here, eastbound on the 10 as we come into Claremont.
You know, I want to say probably better news is that this truck seems to be becoming disabled, if it's not already, slowing down so much from those crazy high speeds that we saw earlier. Sparks still flying, though, from this. It looks like a sign of some kind that you would find on the freeway, just throwing off these sparks. And when we show you more of this pursuit that Desmond was over, we saw a number of cars on the freeway, a number of big trucks, where they were trying to get out of the way of these sparks flying at them, because at one point they were so much. You see that on the right side of your screen? It almost looked like a rocket ship, to quote one of our colleagues. That's what it looked like on the freeway. So hopefully, as this vehicle slows down, maybe the situation will be somewhat diffused, but you know, you never know, especially if the person is armed and dangerous. It could get into some kind of standoff.
Yep, and we are seeing this this truck basically start to slow down. This looks like one of those trucks you would see in the evening hours when they're doing lane closures for construction work along the freeway. Also, if they're hauling a wide load, usually they go on either side of the wide load just to let people know what's going on here. But if you're not experienced driving this type of truck, Pat, right, you know it's going to be difficult to do when you're pulling a trailer, any type of trailer, even a van that you're just not familiar with. This is super duper difficult. You can see sparks are still flying, and I'm curious whether or not this is damage from the collision we saw earlier, or did they use spike strips? Do we know that, Des?
Juan, I believe that the trailer, this driver earlier was driving super crazy on surface streets. I think was taking some turns really hard, and you know these trailers, these freeway signs are not meant for that. I mean, frankly, the tires I've seen them on, these little freeway signs, you know, they're pretty weak. So they gave out, one of those tires gave out very quickly. This is one of those trucks that you would see. This is probably like a Caltrans contractor truck. You see the freeway sign being drug in the back, all the cones in the back, things that you would see for freeway construction, as well as those flashing lights on the back. So it seems like we're always saying it. I've never seen a pursuit like this. We've seen big rigs and all different manners of vehicles, but now we have a construction truck. You know, U-Hauls, those are not uncommon, but I don't believe I've ever covered a construction truck with all the flashing lights and a big freeway sign sparking off the back.
No, we've had
like this.
RVs and Army tanks. If you go further down, I believe the 405 down to San Diego.
That's right, years and years ago, right?
Years and years ago. But this is something very different. And you have to wonder, I believe you mentioned, Des, that CHP said they would not get involved in this. Okay, what is he doing now?
Yes, that's our understanding. It's going to be Ontario Police and Fontana involved. So now, getting onto some surface streets, this could be more dangerous. There may be some units, hopefully, ahead holding some intersections so that innocent people don't get involved. But at least the speeds have come way down. And indeed, it looks like we may be seeing some smoke now coming out from where that right rear tire was. You've got rim on concrete right there. And you know, at some point, that's probably going to fall off and probably going to lose that right rear wheel completely here.
All right, we're just watching this pursuit. What time did this start, Des? You've been over it for what, maybe 15 minutes? I know it started sometime in...
15.
Go ahead, sir.
It took us some time to get out here, Pat. Yeah, this has been going on for more than a half hour, I would say. And we just heard as well that the police know who this person is now, barreling. Okay, so a construction truck coming through a construction zone and just barreling through all those cones. What's going on here? So now going into an area where maybe Caltrans or street crews were setting something up. So we'll see where this leads them as we're on Carrillo Avenue. But yeah, this has been going on for a while. Again, out of Ontario, came into Pomona, now kind of headed back east again. And you see, it looks like construction, maybe just in that parking area. We'll see where this goes. It looks like it's just a parallel street to the freeway, but
you know
barely getting along now, very low speeds.
Des and Juan, is this another opportunity possibly for a spike strip, even though this person could be armed and dangerous? I mean, as slow as they're driving now, could they possibly get out ahead of this vehicle, this truck, and try to...
Those front tires still look like they're in good shape.
But he's really, look, he's down to...
Look at that back wheel on the hitch there.
Oh, yeah, that's going to disintegrate if it hasn't already. Look at that, Devin. That's like on the, like he said, concrete to whatever that is.
To metal, right?
Concrete to metal, concrete to concrete.
Yeah. You see all the smoke coming out there. I don't think they would have any problem getting in front of this vehicle, but knowing that the suspect is armed and dangerous, and especially acting the way that this person has, they're probably going to be reluctant to get in front of this vehicle. We've seen it before. It's kind of hard to say. You know, different agencies have different protocols. We're dealing with some Inland Empire agencies here. Again, Ontario Police as well as Fontana Police. Both of them are basically the kind of co-lead agencies in this. And so we'll just have to see now. But you see wrong side of the road, and at least, you know, with those orange lights, these innocent folks will certainly see him coming.
Yeah, that's for sure. Now he's going to get on, as you say, wrong side of the road. making an illegal turn, which is from what we've seen this evening and here you described, Desmond, that's not all that unusual because he's been driving very recklessly throughout the evening. Look at him with his hands on the wheel there. He just looks rather, you know, not agitated, just almost like he's just out for a drive.
And you can see the side
he's
of the
just
truck
cruising.
there. You can see the ramp closed signs in the back and what looks like just cones or just a way to deviate traffic. So, yeah, a construction truck pursuit going on right now, Desmond. And what's so surprising to me is the person in this car here, this case goes back to yesterday. So can you refresh, you know, our audience with what that all means? Because apparently this has been going on for a while.
Yeah, it was a vehicle that was stolen last night in Ontario, and Ontario police were able to identify it today. I'm not sure what that vehicle was, but then when they tried to pull this person over, they refused to pull over, got into a short pursuit before getting out and carjacking this construction truck. So it sounds like there was someone in that vehicle, and they, you know, pulled him out and took the construction truck. You know, probably just an innocent worker was probably out on a dinner break or something like that, and perhaps that's why they believe this person is armed and dangerous if there was a weapon used in conjunction with that. But now it looks like we're headed back to the freeway. Very strange, just on and off the freeway, getting back on, just dragging this out and dragging this trailer as far as it'll go.
And that's very, again, we're looking at these low speeds now, which I'm going to say it's a good thing because imagine flying like that with those sparks, and that the tire is gone as well. That back tire, it's smoke coming from that tire.
Look at that.
Or what was the tire, as well as that sign that this person is carrying behind him. You
Yeah, the
know,
flashing sign, yeah.
we can never talk, we can never really figure out what goes on in a person's mind at this point, because as Desmond is talking about this happening over 2 days, I mean, you would think that he would know the police. They know who he
They're
is.
looking for him, right?
Right, and to do what he's doing now, there's no rhyme or reason. This is another, though, LA story, if you will.
And look at that, Pat. That hitch is just being dragged. It's not going anywhere. It's not even bouncing. It's just full on being dragged there on the freeway. I mean,
Can you imagine the noise?
The noise. The faster he goes, the harder it would be to keep control of this truck, which is most likely the case, right, Desmond? Why he's going slow, and it looks like we're still in Ontario, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was. We know that the driving was crazy earlier, and that's definitely what damaged this trailer. And then that's also making it more difficult for this truck to drive. And something happened, you know, during this pursuit that caused them to lose the tire too. If they went over a curb really tough, or we didn't hear about any spike strips being used on these tires previously, but we understand that this truck was just flying along like a torpedo on some of these surface streets before they lost these speeds. So now we're coming into the construction zone here, and you see how some of the lanes are coned off, and we're going to see what happens here as this truck gets into this construction zone. So it's just such an incredibly bizarre pursuit, and we showed you the driver. They're just out there, one hand on the wheel, just looking straight ahead, like nothing to see here. I'm just out for a cruise, almost like in complete denial of the reality of what's going on right now.
Desmond, has this stayed in the Ontario area? I guess I'm asking for a reason. That could be that they have nowhere else to go, and they know that, so they're just riding along as long as they can.
Okay.
And driving a disabled truck, too.
Yeah, so it's been in Ontario, right? You haven't seen this truck try to move on from Ontario, go to another district or anything like that. They just seem to stay in the same area. I remember you talked about them getting on surface streets and then trying to get back onto the freeway, but this has basically been in Ontario, around the same area.
Pat and Juan, I'm talking with my pilot Dylan right now, and we're hearing some of the communications from the helicopters overhead, and I don't want to say too much. I was just seeing if we could get the San Bernardino helicopter in the shot here. Not quite at this point, but there's chatter about them doing something, which would be really, really crazy if they do it. So I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm just going to leave it at that right now. It's not spike strips. Obviously, it's not a pit maneuver, but we just going to have to see how this plays out right now as we barely get along on the freeway here.
Slowing down a little bit, it seems like, maybe.
The cone pattern. Even more so, just widening out and seeing the completely empty freeway. I'm sure that there are authorities up ahead holding some of the ramps to clear out the freeway completely. But
so Desmond,
all of those units back behind as well.
Okay, well, so Desmond just kind of, I don't want to say teased us, but he kind of did,
curious,
right? Yeah, like crazy meets crazy. Sometimes I guess you have to do that to bring things under control, and this certainly is a crazy sight that we're looking at right here. Look, basically stop. You know, they're driving.
Right. Oh,
if you call that driving.
Well, we know of the pit maneuver, right, Pat? We know of the spike strips. Desmond's apparently heard of a third possible technique that officers are looking into. So perhaps we're going to be seeing this unfold here right now. But just look how much more damaged that back part of that truck. Look at that. Look, it's falling apart.
Yep, it's wobbling now. We hadn't really seen that before. And we're talking about the 110 West folks at Claremont and Indian Hill Boulevard in Oakmont.
10 West, 10 West,
10
yes.
West. What I call it, the I-10 West?
Yeah.
Okay.
It looks like this trailer might collapse. There, I think, was the rest of the rubber that might have been on the back of the dualies, the dual tires on this truck. That, I think, was the rest of the rubber. So might even start to see some more sparks here. But this trailer might just completely
detach,
collapse at this point. I mean, you wonder how much longer this trailer can continue on like this. But there is something they're talking about doing, and it's going up the chain of command right now. There's a lot of coordination. Okay, now they're thinking they might be backing off it. So now that they're thinking they're not, I'll just tell you what it was. And we've heard that this is something that seems like it's exclusive to San Bernardino County, but there are times where they will actually fire like a sniper rifle out of the moving chopper into the engine block of a vehicle they're in pursuit of to try to disable a vehicle. Sounds like something out of a crazy action movie, but they do. It has been known to happen. It's extremely rare. Part of the reason it happens in San Bernardino County is you think it's the biggest county in the country. There's so much space to cover. They don't want to be getting into a pursuit situation that could be going, for hours and hours on any of these big desert roads. And also out, in the desert, obviously very sparsely populated, so it will be safer for the authorities to do something. Let's say they're out on I-15 north of Barstow or on I-40 out by Ludlow or something like that. So I've never heard of it being done, in a highly populated area like this, even if there's no one on the side of the highway, and maybe that's why they backed off. But it sounds like they were going through the motions to try to get that approved. And obviously that requires a lot more approval than just a standard pit maneuver or something like that. There was a lot of coordination. Sounded like they kind of wanted to, and then they just backed off that. So now I guess we're just waiting to see what's going to happen, how much longer this truck can keep on going.
Okay, but we won't forget that. You said sniper fire.
So
that's
that technique from the helicopter
incredible.
Down into the engine block to stop the truck.
That's pretty incredible.
I've never heard of that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, we've seen it in the movies.
Yeah, I mean, and you think
We've
about
seen it in the movies.
We've seen it in the movies.
You think
and you
about
know what,
it,
Desmond?
from a moving helicopter.
I bet, Desmond and Juan, that you have heard people ask that question before. Why couldn't they just use a weapon as a part of the vehicle, not the person itself, but to stop the vehicle? I know you've both heard that before. I certainly have.
We get asked that all the time.
Yeah. So now we know from Desmond Shaw that it's a possibility. It's something that is used. I hadn't
until
either.
tonight. Looks like the truck is.
Well, there are other techniques as well. That I was just watching a pursuit. I think it was in Arizona the other day, where they have some crazy thing where it's almost like a claw that can come out of the front of a bumper and like latch onto the back of a vehicle and like stop it. And I'm thinking, like, why don't we have that here with all the pursuits that we have in Southern California? That would be pretty cool. I know they were experimenting with some kind of don't know if it was with radio waves or microwaves or something that they could point at a vehicle, especially a newer vehicle. You know, basically all these new cars are controlled by computers, and they were experimenting with something that almost like a radar gun. You could point at it and it would just turn the car off. There was something, but that never came to fruition. I think that was something that Orange County was exploring. Maybe that's still, you know, going through some testing phases, but so yeah, there are different techniques. I don't think we've ever gotten to talk about that particular technique before. I've never witnessed it myself. I've only heard about it several times, and usually way out in the desert, like I said, off of maybe I-40 or Highway 58, something like that.
Well, Desmond,
in San Bernardino County. So
I have an update. Apparently, San Bernardino County Sheriff's deputies sniper shot and killed a pursuit suspect in 2015. So 7 years ago, the driver was going on the wrong way on the 215, and they viewed him as a threat to public safety. So this was actually carried out. I just don't remember that. But
I don't remember it either.
Sniper fire from law enforcement that actually killed a pursuit suspect. 2015.
2015.
So there you go. So it has been done before. And not, you know.
Yeah, so not even the engine block, but the actual suspect themselves.
Yes.
That's yeah. Well, you know, we've talked about the different levels of aggression with different agencies as well. You know, LA County Sheriff's deputies tend to back off a lot of pursuits. LAPD is kind of in between. We consider CHP aggressive, but that's got to be the most aggressive thing you could do, and that's, you know, San Bernardino County Sheriffs. So I think they're kind of at the top of that ratings list about who's going to be, you know, most aggressive in their techniques to bring these to an end. But regardless, we're just barely getting along here. Still, you know, we've slowed down a little bit. Maybe look, we're showing 12, 13 miles an hour. We'll see if we can get to the other side and see the condition
what's happening
of that wheel.
You know, it almost looks like a robot, Juan, that he's pulling behind him at this point. It really does. And we know this is a trailer of some kind with a street sign attached. This is all equipment that Caltrans would use on the freeway. Going back to the beginning of this happening yesterday, where this guy actually carjacked this truck. And for what reason, we don't know. But this is the second day the police have caught up with this person, with this driver. And he's caused, you know, while this looks relatively strange but calm right now, he certainly did cause a lot of havoc earlier this evening.
And you can see there on the right side of your screen right now, that's some video from earlier where you can see, my goodness, if you've been with us the last, you know, 20 minutes or so, those sparks have been nonstop, and that hitch in the back has some safety chains on it, so that's going to keep it from just falling off the back of the truck. So with the chains and what we're seeing here now going at about 13, 14 miles an hour, it doesn't look like we're going to see that hitch fall, you know, in the freeway, which could cause a hazard, of course, for the officers following behind and for other people along the freeway later on. But now it's a wait and see to see when he's going to stop moving, because
he's lost a tire.
Can't go any faster than this right now.
Or two, or one of those dually tires in the back. And we saw that smoking for a long time, and so it's now just, what, metal on pavement? But he continues to go along the 10 East now. Don't know exactly where, and you could see he's got his hands on the wheel there, driving very, very comfortably. Doesn't seem to be too shaken by what's happening. We understand, I believe Desmond said that the police know who he is. Maybe they're in contact with this person via cell phone.
That's right. You just always wonder, you know, what is the end game on this? I mean, sometimes, you know, we'll see the suspects drive really, really fast and then try to get, even if they could just get 30 seconds on the police, you know, get into a neighborhood where they can ditch the car and get out and run around and have a chance of escaping. There's no chance of escape right here. I highly doubt that the police will allow this person to carjack anyone else. He's got to know that. That's probably why there are so many units now involved in this, because remember that happened on the first stage of the pursuit, and you know, Ontario, I'm sure, was not expecting that, and so they called for quite a bit of backup, and they're not going to allow that to happen either. So just dragging this out, trying to run out the clock, knowing what the inevitable outcome is of this. But yeah, here we're getting a pretty good look at the suspect, courtesy of the spotlight of one of the helicopters overhead. And they have had 2 helicopters overhead on this one. And we understand now that they are calling for CHP to shut down the eastbound lanes of the freeway. I'm not sure where at, but they may be trying to do that back in West Covina, maybe over by Cal Poly Pomona, something like that. So
Anticipation.
we'll see how that factors into their strategy.
All right. I mean, that's another, certainly an effort being made on the part of CHP. I remember you reporting earlier, Desmond, that they say that they didn't want to get involved. But this certainly is an assist, if you will, and something I guess worth trying, considering we haven't seen them do anything else in terms of a spike strip. Certainly wouldn't see them doing a pit maneuver, I guess.
Yeah. And Desmond, earlier you were saying the possibility they were going to pull away from the pursuit. Is that still the case, or are they going to keep watching it from the air, or are they still engaged at this point?
Oh no, they're definitely engaged. It seems like there's no chance that they're going to give this up, because it's such a crazy, dangerous one. And this is obviously a very dangerous person. You know, if this would have been even like the pursuit we covered earlier that was reckless driving or something like that, or even just a normal stolen vehicle pursuit, there may have been the chance. But once they get out and carjack someone else, and they're saying that this person is probably armed, so we don't know if it was a knife or a gun, if anything, that was used in that carjacking. But if they saw something like that happen, then this is one that they absolutely have to bring to justice. This is in that top tier. And actually, okay, the airship does think that it was a gun, so they do think that this person has a gun.
Wow.
So they're going to take it as far as this goes.
All right, as we've seen pursuits over the years, we've seen officers back off, but certainly not with something like this, where this person is as dangerous as he is to actually carjack another individual, and that puts someone else's life in danger, and he could possibly do it again. So, and the fact too, Desmond Anwan, that he is driving so slowly. It's not as if the motorists are in danger, or as much danger as they would have been earlier when he was driving so fast and recklessly. I'm sure that has to factor.
Now he's at 10 miles an hour, and we get a glimpse of him every once in a while there, Pat, and it looks like he has one hand on the wheel, the other hand perhaps on a phone. Maybe he's communicating with somebody at this point, maybe with family members. Sometimes they do reach out to them first to convince him to pull over and stop this. But look at him. He's kind of like,
yeah, he's on
got
the phone.
one hand.
Looks like it.
It looks like he's wearing a baseball cap there, and that he's got a phone to one of his ears.
And let's face it, Desmond Anwan, I mean, it looks like it couldn't go any faster if he wanted to at this point.
I'm thinking if that hitch continues to drag along the street, he would lose control of the car. Very difficult to control that truck.
And he's not trying to.
Right.
Right? Isn't he been on this same trajectory for a while?
Carpool lanes, right, Des?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's down a tire. There's the trunk, or the bed is weighed down with a lot of stuff, and then also towing this trailer that's missing a tire and actually might lose the other one. And so all of those things combined, I don't think this truck is capable of going any faster right now. Just going to widen out here and show just for a second, because they're going to be shutting down lanes of the freeway here as we come back over. We are over Orange Grove Street right now, and they're shutting down the eastbound lanes at Fairplex. So it sounds like they do have something up their sleeve. We might see something happening here within the next few minutes. They may be getting more active in shutting this down and not, letting this end the way the suspect wants this to end. They don't want it to end on his terms. They would love to just get this over with right now. So we'll see what they're going to do here within the next couple of minutes.
And they would most likely do it, Desmond.
Hey, guys, he's either getting a little bit more agitated, or he's making, I've seen him make either gestures or
moving
like he was,
around,
pounding the steering wheel as a person who could be agitated in a conversation.
Perhaps you can see the closure ahead. I mean, I'm guessing, Desmond, they're going to close it before the next off ramp or close to an off ramp where we can get back off, where you basically be stuck on the freeway.
Yes, that is correct. I believe they're shutting the freeway down at Fairplex, I heard, and then we're going to see what they're going to do. So it does look like the suspect's been on the phone, and you wonder if he's negotiating something with Ontario and Fontana. Probably Ontario with this one. If that's who he's talking to, maybe he's talking to a relative. Would hopefully trying to talk him down from this whole situation. This trailer just hanging on for dear life right now. It looks like that rear tire is flat and could fall off at any moment. That could complicate things as well, because then this sign could just drag all over the freeway in different directions and possibly cause the suspect to lose control of the vehicle. But at least there's no innocent people around.
Right.
And so you're still seeing some eastbound traffic here, but we should start to see that thin out here as CHP shuts the freeway down.
All right, I don't want to jump the gun here, but
what do we got here?
yeah,
What do
is
we
that?
got here?
A motorcyclist?
Yeah.
A motorcyclist.
Not sure where they came from. If they were just over on the right-hand shoulder for a while, they just came into the picture.
There's another
he's
one.
Probably looking at this going, what is going on?
And there's a pickup truck on the other
Yep.
side. Before we hadn't seen any
Nobody.
traffic.
Oh, hello. Okay, well, look at this, guys.
I
We've
didn't
got
get-
an armored Bearcat.
I was going to
coming
say
up.
that. I was going to say that, Des.
Yeah.
Honest to God. I'm thinking okay, I
Where's
don't
the
mean to get so
Bearcat?
excited here. I mean, yeah,
There it is.
could be one coming in the opposite direction. I mean, they're armored. This person
Yeah,
if he
well,
is-
I'll widen out and see if there. I don't see one coming from the other side. I mean, now we've got some innocent people not too far away, so that might complicate things. I'm wondering if they're probably going to try to make a move once those innocent people get out of the way. I'm not sure why they're still so close. This person right here, if they're just getting a way too close a view of what's going on. I'm sure it's a very crazy thing to see from the freeway, but they need to get out of the way so that the authorities can do whatever they have to do. Pat, I referenced this once before, and I wonder if they're going to try to physically, ram this vehicle with their armored vehicle. We saw it before, one of the first chases we ever covered together a long, long time ago with someone who was out waving a gun at LAPD, and after a while, they brought in a couple of Bearcats and just pinned them right against the center divider, and that ended it really quickly. But you see here as we're going by, all these people still in the shot, and all of them over on. I guess they're just trying to get out of the way, but they're unfortunately kind of getting in the way, even though they are technically doing what they should. I guess it's just a confusing situation for people. It's not every day you see this many police coming onto the freeway so slowly with a truck with sparks coming out of the back.
Yeah, they just need to pull over and stop instead of continue going. And that looks like that's what they did there, Desmond.
Yeah, they may just need to position some more officers to shut down the on-ramp so they can have more of an extended space without any innocent people getting involved in this one. So getting ready to pass by yet another person, and then there's a few more people up there. But just see how this progresses in the next few minutes if they're going to bring in. A lot of times they do any operation like this, they'll use more than one armored vehicle. So we'll see if they have another one coming in at some point too.
All right, whether it's
Speeding
very
up.
speeding.
Here we go.
speeding.
Something's happening. Let's see what they're going to do. Might ram them right against the center divider.
Yep.
And
Looks like
That's
it.
what it looks like.
coming right up next to him and just
Boom.
gently
There you
pushing him
go.
right. Look at that.
Wow.
Boom, stop.
Oh, he's
Stop it. The
jumping.
suspect is out. Oh, my, and running in
Oh.
lanes of the freeway. Oh,
And
the
you know what?
eastbound
It-
side. But you know what? It was shut down. So there was no vehicles. Well, actually, there
Whoa.
were a few vehicles there. Oh, boy. This is really stressful. We're
Not
trying to
good.
get to the other side of the sound wall here. We can't see beyond the sound wall. Look at the police right here. Dylan, if we can reposition the chopper here to get in front of the sound wall, I think I just saw
Did it
something
look
right
like he-
there.
Did it look like he?
Right alongside the passenger side of the work truck. The driver jumping out of the driver's side, squeezing between the K-rail there, and now law enforcement with an empty eastbound freeway able to pursue him across the freeway, but there's still some cars entering the freeway. So they're going to be very careful here, but at some point I would expect to see some officers follow him. He's on the phone. You can see that night sun. Look at this. Cars dodging out of the way, and he's trying to look for another car. He's trying to look for another car, but there's not many cars going in his direction, and there's not going to be any with the freeway shut down now. He's on the phone, running down the shoulder on the eastbound side of the 10 freeway. So the construction vehicle has now come to a stop in the median on the westbound side. He ran across, jumped the K-rail, and is now, look at that, the K9 on the suspect. K9 on the suspect. He is being taken down by, well, that's either going to be CHP's finest or Pomona PD, but in any event, a K9 dog now on the suspect, bringing this dramatic pursuit to an end. Look at this. Look at this. He is no match for that animal. Look at this. Officers now approaching the suspect, who's still putting up a struggle. Still putting up a struggle. Officers with their guns trained on that suspect. Again, this person believed to be armed, now being wrestled down by that canine. And this is about as dramatic as it gets. Look at this. He is finally giving up. Hands out, proned out. That dog is having a lot of fun down there, but this is serious business. And they are going to take this person into custody in the next several seconds. As soon as they call the dog off, he will be in handcuffs. And there you have it, folks. Look at this. Look at this. A wild Grand Theft Auto suspect stealing a Caltrans truck of all things, leading police on a wild chase down the 10 freeway here through the San Gabriel Valley out of San Bernardino, and now being taken down on foot by a canine officer here in Pomona along the eastbound side of the 10 freeway. That's one way to do it. You saw that Bearcat, that armored Bearcat vehicle, pull into position, squeeze the truck into the K-rail, into the median, and that is how this pursuit ended. Then the driver jumping out, running across the freeway, almost appeared as if he was about to carjack another vehicle as he ran down the shoulder on his phone. I think he was a bit shocked, obviously, by being by the dog tackling him there. I almost didn't even see the dog coming into the frame there, but man, what a dramatic end to this pursuit. That suspect appears a bit bloody after being taken down by that canine officer. They're going to call for an ambulance at some point here. That suspect still appears to be on the ground. Very difficult to see what's playing out down there. A little dark for us to see clearly, but you can see a number of officers from a number of agencies at the end of this foot pursuit here on the 10 freeway. Again, traffic shut down in both directions, eastbound and westbound, along the 10 freeway at Casa Vista Drive.
There he is. Looks like he's now being lifted up by that officer. Unclear whether he's able to stand up. Looks like the dog took a chunk out of that suspect, and he will definitely be heading to the hospital here at some point. We'll go ahead and widen out when we get a chance here, and we'll give you a better picture of what the scene looks like. You can see where the pursuit came to an end. That person jumping over that K-rail after that Bearcat basically pitted the construction vehicle into the K-rail, and then he went running for several hundred yards before finally being taken down there on the eastbound side of the freeway. I mean, dramatic to say the least, but I can't say I've ever seen anything quite like this. Cars. Looks like CHP is making an effort to reopen at least part of the freeway on the eastbound side, but if they do, it'll be only a lane or two at best until they get that suspect off the freeway. There's not much else to do there in terms of investigation on the freeway except find the gun. This person was armed with a gun at one point, and they're going to want to make sure he didn't throw the gun during the foot chase there. But barring any evidence search here on the freeway, they're going to try and open up that eastbound side very quickly, or at least as soon as they can, because they could easily take him off the freeway or back onto the westbound side, wait for that ambulance, and alleviate this traffic jam that has built up pretty quickly here near Fairplex. So this is the eastbound side at Fairplex that is shut down. Traffic starting to back up in both directions, eastbound and westbound. And they are going to make an effort here to open at least some of this traffic up as soon as possible. But a major situation playing out here. And, I mean, it's going to be an interesting police report when this is all done. Looks like the suspect now being treated on the freeway right there. You can see a couple of fire trucks pulling in here, medics jumping out and attending to these injuries. We'll see what they do with this person. I would have assumed he would have been taken off the freeway, but if he can't stand or walk, then they're going to leave him right there until they have a stretcher ready. And I'm sure there's an ambulance trying to get out here as well. So a lot more waiting for these folks that are stuck in this traffic. It's going to be a little bit longer before they can reopen this freeway. And where is that? Looks like they may have found a weapon. Was it thrown over which wall? Let me see. Just widen out a little bit. I just want to see. So, oh, I don't. Oh, that's something. Throw though. That's. Well, as you can see, there certainly appears that they are prepared to recover that weapon that has been found opposite the wall where the canine took the suspect down. He must have thrown the gun over the wall, and you can see that what appears to be a magazine next to the gun, next to a commercial structure. It looks like or is it a house? It's a house, yeah, look at that. So there's a residential neighborhood on the other side of that wall. And looks like the suspect's gun is in the driveway somehow. Hard to see how that gun was thrown that distance, especially in the final moments there. But sure enough, it looks like they've been able to find it. So that's good news. That'll help them open up the freeway a little bit quicker now that they don't have to search for more evidence. As soon as they can get an ambulance out here, they will escort him to the hospital and then open up the eastbound side of the freeway. The westbound side, well, that's going to be a little bit longer as well because they're going to have to clear that construction vehicle. There's going to be an investigation at some point. They will only be able to open up a couple of right lanes on the westbound side here. So a major traffic impact for folks traveling through Pomona here. The eastbound and westbound side coming to a halt after a dramatic police pursuit involving a Caltrans work truck. Let's go ahead and play back the final moments of this pursuit. You could see there was a Bearcat that was called in here, an armored vehicle, basically pitting the vehicle against the median, the suspect jumping out the driver's side over the K-rail. You could see him dragging that sign against the pavement there, and then after a brief pursuit, a foot pursuit, where there were still several cars on the eastbound side of the freeway, he was able to bring that vehicle to a stop, but the driver jumping out, running across all lanes of the freeway, all the way to the shoulder, at one point pulling out his cell phone and appeared to be making a call, and it almost looked like he was maybe seeking an opportunity to carjack another vehicle, but in any event, he was taken down just seconds later by that canine unit. There's the San Bernardino, or actually, not sure if that was San Bernardino PD, Dan, or Ontario, the helicopter? That's Ontario PD with the helicopter overhead that was following this pursuit. So Ontario PD with their helicopter over the final moments of this pursuit. CHP, Ontario PD, San Bernardino County Sheriff, all coming to an end here in Pomona, where one of those agencies, or perhaps Pomona PD, donated their armored vehicle to bring this pursuit to an end. Well, that will do it for our coverage from up here in Air 7 HD. Of course, keep it right here and tune into Eyewitness News at 11 o'clock for the very latest on this breaking story. Again, a dramatic pursuit here in Pomona. Reporting live from Air 7 HD, I'm Chris Christie, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
$100 million in tonight's Mega Millions drawing. We'll talk.
This is Pomona. Pomona, just, it's going to be the 10 freeway westbound, just past White Avenue.
The passenger side of the work truck, the driver jumping out of the